Hello and welcome to another episode of the CIRS Group podcast. I'm Jacie.
And I'm Barbara.
Today we're going over the life of a CIRS patient with the very highly requested timings for binders because I know that's so difficult for so many people where it's like, I take supplements and thyroid medication. When do I take binders in the mix of all of this? Just before we jump in, heavy caveat that this is really idealistic. If you were to follow this every day, your job would be being a CIRS patient. So we're trying to give you elements that you could incorporate in your day, but don't feel like you're a failure as a CIRS patient if you don't get all of these in your day. I know that Barbara and I certainly did not
Never,
hit
not
all of
once.
these every day. We hit
No.
some of these most days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And you kind of have to prioritize it for yourself. I would say binders are super important. Anything that makes you feel more human is going to be one of the higher priority things, or at least it was for me.
Hmm.
And again, before we talk about any of this, none of this is medical advice. Definitely follow the recommendations of your provider. This is just a sample of what we might see a CIRS patient do based on the timings of the binders, etc.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess to dig in or start the day, let's say we wake up, because that's usually what people do first. And the first CIRS related thing to do is to take your binders. Especially if it's CSM, you want to take CSM roughly or approximately 30 minutes before you eat. Same can go for well call, although I have also heard some doctors say just take it with food. So follow whatever your specific Shoemaker certified practitioner has told you to do when it comes to binders. If your doctor is not Shoemaker certified, find a Shoemaker certified person to ask, practitioner preferably.
Yeah, and if, just as a point, if you are working with like a family doctor and they're willing to prescribe to you, you can always work with a proficiency partner as like your side piece to help inform your treatment. So follow their recommendations if you don't have a Shoemaker certified provider. But when you take your binders or when you eat after taking your binders, whether it's 30 minutes before or with your meal, you want to make sure you're getting at least 7 grams of fat. And the reason for that is binders that we take are bile acid sequestrants. So we want to make sure that we're getting the bile release when we take the binders, and we can do that through fat consumption. You can also do that through fiber consumption if you are someone who struggles to digest fat. Another option would be like some sort of like ox bile or other supplement that can help with the bile production.
I like that you whispered it so that the carnivores don't hear us
Yeah.
say that.
They have really bad hearing.
Yeah. Oh man. And then after that, you would want to take any supplements like electrolytes, omegas, etc. 1 to 2 hours later, preferably. And I say preferably with a weird look on my face because I would usually take my well call, cook my food, eat it, not really paying attention to time, by the way. And then after I'm done eating, maybe I'll sit and scroll Instagram or something for a little bit. Then I'll get up and go take my supplements. So, did 1 to 2 hours pass in that time for me? No. But I noticed, at least for me, it didn't seem to affect me that negatively. As Jacie mentioned earlier, with something more important like a thyroid medication, that's something you really do want to make sure there's that window of time between binders and taking the meds. Always go by what your CIRS doctor has told you as far as timings of important medications. But for me, I did the best that I could. I basically spaced my binders and my other supplements with a meal plus a little extra time.
The reason you would want those separated, just to give you like the reasoning for the prioritization, is so that the binders don't bind to whatever you're taking.
Yeah.
So with something like a supplement, it's like, okay, if it's, 10% less effective than it would have been, do I care that much? Like, is that time spent waiting worth it to me? If that is a medication, like a thyroid medication or birth control, let's say, you might actually want to wait the appropriate amount of time because it's more important that those things be effective.
Yeah. And some good practices to do to be able to make sure you do that correctly is to set a timer on your phone as soon as you've taken the well call. Set that that timer for, 2 hours or whatever you need it to be, so that something will happen 2 hours from that point to remind you and prompt you to go back and take something that's important like that.
Now, if you are this idealized CIRS patient, at this point, you might pick a spot in your home to clean, do laundry or vacuum. So we know that one of the main concepts with biotoxin cleaning, like cleaning your space, is that it's frequency of cleaning, not necessarily effectiveness of biocide that you're using. Because to CIRS patients, it doesn't matter if it's alive or dead, it will still impact your immune system. And so, really, the concept is getting it out of your space rather than using like nukes to kill the biotoxins, which is why we don't recommend biocides. They just aren't going to do what we need to do, which is to get it out of our space. So, it is good if you can frequently clean your space. And so, a very manageable way to do that is to set a timer for 15 minutes and do whatever you can for 15 minutes a day. And if you don't have the capacity to do that, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you can do is better than nothing.
Absolutely, yeah. And then after that, maybe it would be a good time to get some sunshine and fresh air and go for a walk. We're pretending you're not working or have other thing or kids or things to do. Whispering also helps people. But but if you can get outside, get some fresh air if you're able to. Of course, if you live in someplace super hot like Las Vegas, like I do, you would probably want to do this first while it is a little bit cooler. And because by this point in the day, it's probably over 100 and not as pleasant to be outside. So you pick the appropriate time of day to do this, but I think all CIRS patients do really well with some very easy walking, fresh air, getting outside. That's just in general a really good thing for most CIRS patients to do if they are physically able to.
And then you might want to turn your iAdapt air purifiers or move them to another part of the room because you do want to get that air circulation. So it's recommended that you move your air purifiers every day, multiple times a day. But like I think if you move it once a day, like you're doing better than like probably 99.9% of the people who have air purifiers. So that might be something you consider. And at this point, you should be 2 hours away from the binder. So you would take any sort of important medications, and then we would have like another 2 hour gap before the next step, which would be taking your next dose of binders.
Right. And just a note on the iAdapt moving or the air purification moving, I almost I almost never do this. So this is a good reminder for me that I should go move my purifiers a little bit next time, as soon as we're done recording this episode. After you take that second dose of binders, again, you'll want to eat in about 30 minutes afterwards. At least the 7 grams of fat, or like Jacie said, a little bit of fiber. So if you're not ready for another whole meal, maybe that's a string cheese or something else that's enough fat, but not a whole, sit
Weetabix.
down. A what?
Weetabix.
Weetabix.
If you're going the fiber route, you can have a Weetabix.
Oh, that sounds cute and foreign to me.
Oh, it's British.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. If you're in London, you can have that.
No one else. You're
No
not
one
allowed.
else, not even anywhere
No
else in the
Weetabix
UK.
for you.
Yeah. And just so we don't repeat ourselves here in this episode, you will do this probably again. If you're taking CSM, you will be taking 3 doses. I'm sorry, 4 doses in the day. If you're taking well call, you will do 3 doses. 3 doses in the day. Why did I like second guess myself both times? So just depending on the type of binder you're taking, obviously your doctor should have told you exactly how to take it. If you're not all the way up to full dose yet, your results will be different, but you will in any case want to wait basically 4 hours between each dose of a binder. So repeat as needed.
So at this point, you might want to check under sinks and behind appliances for leaks. If you don't want to do this step every day or every week or every month, you would get leak detectors, which are pretty cool. You can either get the kind of analog type that just yell at you. They also have digital kinds that can connect to your home Wi-Fi. So if like you're out of town, it'll notify you on your phone that you're having a leak. I just moved and I invested in like a kit on Amazon and I got 6 detectors for like $100. And that like very reasonable if you consider like if you have a major leak and you don't catch it in time, thousands, tens of thousands of
Yeah.
dollars. So definitely if you invest that money up front, it can really help in the long term.
Yeah, and I mean my leak detectors, I just got the ones that scream at you because we are almost always home. We're just homebodies like that. Or somebody is home because we have a dog. So they just screamed at us. But I mean, Jacie was here when one screamed at us, and I'm so thankful that we not only had the leak detector to tell us immediately that there was just some issue with like the P-trap thing under the sink of the guest bathroom, but also we had a rubber mat down inside the cabinet under that sink. So even though some water did drip, which caused the alarm to go off, it was on a rubber mat and was totally, no wood, no cabinetry, nothing else got even remotely wet at all. So that was really, really nice. All of that paid for itself instantly, basically. I mean, it paid for itself the moment that I got it. All of that stuff is relatively cheap for sure.
And then you might want to check in with your CIRS coach or community. Just check in with your CIRS peep, especially if you feel at this point in the day that like all I do is CIRS stuff. Like, like come talk to us over at the CIRS group. One of my favorite things is in the CIRS group, whenever we start a call, we're like, you don't have to apologize for trouble word finding because we get it. You don't have to apologize for crying because we get it. It's just nice to interact with people who understand. And especially at this point in your day, if you have been working and you just feel like no one gets what I'm going through, we do.
Yeah.
We,
And
we do.
And I always appreciate, and I really do, it's going to sound sarcastic, but I do appreciate that when I say dumb things or second guess myself or stutter, Jacie generally will leave it in the episode and because she's the one who edits it. I think that's a good thing though. Like we want you guys to see us struggle a little bit because it's real. It's really what we do. And as CIRS patients, I think we all know it far too well. And so all the all the more reason to make sure you plug into some kind of community, even if it's not ours, or get yourself a CIRS coach so that you have somebody who is reminding you that this stuff is not in your head and you are not alone and you are valiantly battling a really complex illness. And yeah, it's just good to have that community to be around.
Now you could replace your bed sheets. Typically, you want to do this at least once a week as a CIRS patient. If you are someone who's susceptible to actinos, you might want to do it twice a week. But doing this, before bed would be good once or twice a week. And then maybe you fill out your journal of symptoms to record how you felt throughout the day. We actually, in the group, we have a symptom tracker that you can download, which will help you score your symptoms 1 through 5. It's also really great if you can record your food. I actually have a friend who doesn't have CIRS, has other health issues, and has been dealing with some GI stuff. And he told me, he's like, I'm really bad about tracking my food. And I was like, it could be as simple as like you're allergic to potatoes. But you have to know what you're eating and when you're getting symptoms because he kind of has like days where he's good and days where he's bad. And it's like the time doesn't make sense. It's not cyclical in any way that he can recognize. But like if he did something simple like track his food, then he would be able to see where those symptoms are coming from. So if you have the capacity to do this and you don't feel like it's making you hyperfixate on your symptoms, it's super helpful when you're trying to kind of suss out where these sudden swings in your health are coming from.
Yeah. And of course, write down any symptoms that come to mind. But if you have kind of the same symptoms over and over again, you can make kind of like a grid and just and then put the days of the week at the top. And you can just put an X or maybe a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst of each of those things. So you can kind of track it that way. And you also may want to go as far as to track how tired or whatever symptom you were when you first woke up versus maybe midday versus late in the day. You don't have to go that detailed about it unless you want to. It kind of depends on what your needs are. But some symptoms you might want to track are things like fatigue, headaches, body aches and weakness, anxiety or depression or other mood swings, urination frequency or feelings of urgency there, histamine responses, and then of course, like Jacie mentioned, what you did or ate that day, where you went. That can be really helpful for a CIRS patient because if you always get a headache after your hot yoga class, maybe that hot yoga class is not actually good for you because of mold, or also because it's hot and yoga. There's other things going on. But that is how I would track my symptoms if I was an idealized CIRS patient.
And then finally get decent sleep. As a CIRS, like I didn't sleep well last night and I'm feeling it today. And I know that like as a CIRS patient, a lot of us struggle with insomnia. But like
Mhm.
to the best of your ability, if you can make sure you're setting yourself up for success with sleep, making sure that the temp is low enough. I think they recommend generally like 68 degrees, but under 70 is great. Using natural bedding materials, that was a game changer for me because I used to sleep on like jersey microfiber sheets. And I was like, ooh, so soft, so cozy. But then I would wake up and I would just be like sticky. It
Mhm.
was gross. Now I sleep in cotton, it's much better. And then having an air purifier in your room. So you mentioned not ever moving your air oasis. If if you want to be forced to move it every day, and I accidentally found this hack, is if you store it on your nightstand during the day and then you have to move it at night so you can use your nightstand, it kind of forces you to always have it in some sort of rotation.
Oh, that's
So just
good.
yeah,
I like that one.
yeah. But yeah, we went over like kind of like the most perfect CIRS patient day.
Yeah.
And I think it would be helpful to bring us back to reality a little. So, as a CIRS patient who's mostly recovered from CIRS, I can tell you that most days I don't think about CIRS. Like, probably more than the average recovered CIRS patient because we work in the CIRS space.
Yeah.
But, like, for my own routine, I do the things that feel good to me. So, like, every day I get sunshine, every day I move my body, every day I take the supplements I still enjoy taking and I think make a difference. But I'm not timing my day, I'm not cleaning as frequently. It's just not something that's as much in the front of my mind. And I hope that feels hopeful to people that, if you do feel trapped by your current CIRS routine, just know that that routine is helping you get well and helping you get to a point where maybe someday you don't need to have that stringent of a routine anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I know I've been very transparent as far as like moments where I screw up or oh, whoops, I didn't take well call and I'm eating right now and I already took my supplements. I guess I'm just gonna take well call right now too. Like, you do the best you can in the moment and certainly don't beat yourself up for it at all. Yeah, just do your best and whatever works for you and your schedule, people who have kids or have demanding jobs or, have a commute or other things are going on or you're a caretaker for someone else when you're dealing with an illness. So many different things can make your day obviously look a lot different than this and be less perfect, but you just do whatever works best for you. Meet yourself where you are as far as when you're creating your own schedule and like figuring out what works for what you need. And certainly, if you need help, this is one of the best ways to utilize a CIRS coach. And you can do that either within a community like the CIRS group, or you can find any number of amazing proficiency partners that are out there and start working with a coach like that. You can just do a one-off appointment with someone just to get your plan in place, get a schedule, maybe an idealized version of that schedule, and then work it out in real life, and then meet with that coach a second time to go, here's what worked, here's what didn't, and let them help you troubleshoot how to make that better for yourself. So those are always some good options for you guys if you're struggling at all with this. But just yeah, do your best.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a progress thing than a perfection thing. I'm just going to double down on this as the last point.
Yeah.
It's like if you hold yourself to such a high standard that you feel like you failed if you haven't met all of these requirements and therefore you don't even try, then that is worse than doing poorly every day. Like
Yeah.
poorly in your own standard of what you expect from yourself. Like if you're doing a 2 out of 10 every day, that's better than a 0 out of 10 most days and then 10 out of 10 every once in a while.
Yeah.
Get that
100%.
2 out of 10 average.
Yeah. I support that.
And of course, if you're looking for more resources and support in your search journey, you can join us over at the CIRSgroup.com.
We'll see you there.